This recording is being made in an undisclosed location. Well, suffice it to say it is in the vicinity of a campfire. Oh, and my BlackBerry is off. I'll catch you in a little. Well, we got a plane overhead. A lot of crickets in the background tonight. Or from the setting for what I like to think of as a fireside chat. I don't think I could convey any more or less information or put in my likeness front and center. And my preference is not to do so. I prefer my privacy to notoriety. And besides, I don't think it would necessarily be beneficial for a photographic record that exists of my current assembly. Not exactly God's gifts to wardrobes. Well, I think I do have some strengths in the political sphere that from time to time I like to bring to bear. So from time to time I will exert some energy, take some time and effort. Although in the case of the 20th Assembly District, that's not true. I was actually on a mountain with my wife in Aspen, Colorado when I was nominated by Connecticut for Lieberman Party. Mainly because the person who established Connecticut for Lieberman's position on the ballot for the 20th Assembly District, John Mertens, on the same night was being nominated for U.S. Senate. So it was a bit of a vacancy in a not too tightly contested district, represented by a guy who's probably a better man for the job than anyone else on the ballot this year. I don't know who that would be. I'm one. I can concede some ground to David on as far as being a state representative. I think he's doing a pretty good job. And but my approach to politics is not the typical, obviously, not the orthodox approach of gunning for my opponent and trying to cast people who are actually good people in a bad light. I don't know what that does for your credibility, but I tend to think a lot of people involved in politics put in a lot of extra time and effort, and a lot of people who don't vote are probably less than stellar in the citizenship realm. So I tend not to be in that camp that says, throw the bums out. I'm one of those bums who don't do a whole lot on the civic stage. But if I don't want to spend a lot of time and money, I'll grab a nomination and stand on a soapbox if I think it's helpful. The convention that put me in on the ballot this year took place January 13th, which is why I was in Colorado at the time, and we're looking today, we're into August, and haven't had a lot to say about this race. Sitting here on August 1st in an undisclosed location. And as I said before, some of you may have not seen the clip that I'm referring to, but earlier tonight I mentioned the connection between political upheaval and pyromania, and I think this is probably the highest flames I've had all night, so I think I'm going to use this to, now that I have your attention, I'd like to address some of my fellow citizens who are members of the Tea Party movement, many of whom are reckless, angry people, but many more are justifiably trying to do something about the demise of our political establishment, which seems to be all out of answers. I think what we're going through right now is a real sea change and an upheaval, and as is typically the case, it's the cause of it is economic. Our economy really has come off the rails. We're going down this railroad for a while, and then the middle class got railroaded, and boy, a lot of people lost their homes, and a lot of anger out there. A lot of jobs been lost, real pain. So we're lucky to live in a republic where there's a political dialogue when these things happen. And sure, people are pissed off. I mean, how could you expect not to be? I'd be more concerned if there was no reaction. At the same time, I am alarmed with some of the antics of the Tea Party. We can speak about it as a coherent unit, which I don't know is really accurate. I mean, I don't really know that the leaders and the followers have been established in any kind of organization. One thing's plain, that there's a conservative portion, really, of the Republican Party that is spoiling for a fight. And yeah, we'll get it in November. We'll see a lot of really, extraordinarily conservative candidates out there, and I don't know how if they scare too many people with their anger, they may not do so well. So that's my counsel, is that slow to anger. That's the counsel my father gave to my eldest brother on his wedding day, even though I was not in attendance because of my military obligations. I received a report on that, and passed that along. That's my version of Christianity right there. You just say slow to anger and pretty much stop, and save yourself reading a whole bunch of Gospels we don't know a heck of a lot about. But I don't want to get into religion, because tremendous knowledge deficit there on the part of most believers, because epistemology breaks down into three basic divisions. You have belief, logic, and scientific method. And a lot of people, I would say that's an evolution. I'd say in the last 400 years we've really made great progress as human beings because of the scientific process. And yet there are still remnants of the belief epistemology where people just know that something is some way, one way or another. They believe it. And there's not a lot of discussion. There's not a lot of conversation. Or not much left to talk about. If you believe in something, well, it doesn't change, right? And I don't really believe in too much. But I understand the belief epistemology like this. Like, I will always be a Red Sox fan, trying to talk to people about voting for a Democrat or voting for a Republican if they're in a belief mindset that one or the other is better than the other is. And that's, I think, the trap that we're in today. We go back and forth between, Republican or Democrat. We just buy into these labels. Well, let's put it to the test. Well, what worked? Whose energy policy is the best? Whose economic policy? What economic policy works? And then we turn on our radio and listen to a talk show and let someone else do the hard work of thinking on it. And that's we look at other countries that are very religiously oriented, like Iran or what have you, and say, how can you buy into that?